afternoon. Oh, giving the first presentation is really making you nervous, actually. It was easier to sit over there and comment and answer some questions, find some mistakes that people make. But okay, I'm better than that. But when you're here, it is not the case, unfortunately. And just an explanation. Before I start my presentation on behalf of my dear group, I'd like to explain why you see me with my cell phone yesterday in the picture. For the last 6 months, I was trying to get someone from the HR to talk to me about an issue. And yesterday, right before the picture was taken, they called me. I couldn't hang up. I was waiting for a phone call for 6 months. Ladies and gentlemen, would you have hanged it up? No. No. And now it is documented there, John. You always remember me. That way, my phone. And I was like, okay. And this is actually one of the 21st century problems, people with cell phones all the time. And our focus group was 21st century skills in curriculum development, John. He feels really bothered if I don't say curriculum enough, so. So, we have a puzzle. Actually, it was a problem, but Hasan Hocam actually made us change it to puzzle. We had a puzzle within the puzzle, because we actually don't know what we were doing. First, we started with this. What are 21st century skills? Now, in our action research, that is our project. Our aim is to teach students some of the 21st century skills. In the meantime, if you come up with anything, or if I forget anything, please help me. And we first thought that that would be the first question to answer. But, we Googled it and we found out that there are like 13 of them. Maybe more, but we found 13. And then we decided, we thought, which ones are really important and which ones should we apply in our classroom, which ones should we teach? Of course, we couldn't know. And should we include all or some of these skills as objectives in our curriculum of the prep program? Those are our questions. And if so, if we are to include all of or some of these skills in our curriculum, what materials, tasks do we need to develop to do this? These were the basic 4 puzzles within the first puzzle. What are they? And then it goes on this way. And, oops. This is another 21st century skill we need to have, using clickers. Okay, and in the planning part, we focused on 3 things. Hasan Hocam really helped us a lot in terms of organizing our frame. So first we thought about the action, and then the time frame, and then the participants. First, as the curriculum designers, we thought that the first thing that we should do is do the literature review. And the participants in this part will be basically curriculum planners, developers, or curriculum team, whatever you call them in your institution. And then we design tools. What kind of tools are we going to use to define those skills? And these tools are maybe, like Jonathan suggested, observational faculty classes, because that's something they have done at their institution, and it worked really well. We almost always, all of us, thought about surveys. Easy, SurveyMonkey surveys. It's probably free. We love free stuff here, teachers. And we also thought that designing interviews with focus groups is also another thing that we can make use of while we are trying to identify those 21st century skills that our students would need. And the participants for the observation surveys and interview groups are, as seen here, curriculum team, the students in their faculty, especially senior year, and faculty members themselves, the graduates, and potential future employers, of course English teachers, the prep teachers who are the executioners of these programs, and our students in prep are our participants. And we thought that these 2 procedures should, let's say, for the sake of the argument, takes place in the summer as a summer project first. And that's how we started the first part, the planning. And And in terms of action, we thought that 1 or 2 semesters would be enough to collect data. And when we're collecting data, of course, we're making, as curriculum team, we're also asking teachers to observe classes, as I mentioned in the previous slide, as the design tools. If you ask teachers to help us observe the classes and do the focused interviews, maybe they would feel more involved and we wouldn't face with rejection from them on their part, so they will be included in the process themselves. And when it comes to analyzing and identifying the special skills, we said that it might be maybe 5 skills out of 13. Those might be the ones that we come up with at the end of analyzing the data. And that part also might take 1 or 2 semesters, depending on the number of the students and the instructors you are dealing with. And when we analyzed the data, when we found out those 5 21st century skills, we thought that giving workshops to teachers and teaching them how to teach, let's say, or helping them how to teach those 21st century skills might be a good idea. So there we also included teachers in our plan. And after identifying those 5 key skills that they need to learn, we think about a semester-long project for each level, and that can take 1 semester, and here the participants are teachers and prep students. Let me stop here for a moment and explain what semester-long projects are. In every single institution there are some different variables, and we thought about multiple levels. What I mean is, let's say in an institution we have about beginner levels, pre-intermediates, intermediate, upper intermediates, or whatever you call them. And we think that those 5 21st century skills that we're going to teach our students, in a way, maybe indirectly, will be part of a big project. I mean, what I mean is, when we assign them a big project that might take all semester, the students will be, we hope, practicing and learning those skills. But what are those skills? We also thought about some possible outcomes of our project to develop following skills. That is the result of our data collection part. We thought that the first skill our students might need to learn is collaboration and teamwork, and then, of course, critical thinking. But here, one of us, that was, I think, you were talking about how it is not only 21st century, but 20th century skill as well. Which, yeah.
We use this.
This is a skill beyond time, actually, critical thinking. Global and cultural awareness and digital literacy and creativity, we thought, might be the possible results that we collated from faculty members and future employers and students and etc. How to observe the implementation. So let's say that we edit these into our curriculum and we assign them a semester-long or a year-long project, scaffolded in such a way that in each level the students are maybe, depending on varying from different levels, varied in different levels, they are going to carry out some tasks by using these skills, and we're going to guide them into using these skills with the questions and tasks and everything. But mind you, it is scaffolded in such a way that every single student in every single level is going to achieve some of those things, maybe not all. Here our aim is actually teach them these skills through language instruction, so we have actually 2 aims here. And like you suggested, it may not be very measurable, but we can actually measure these, measure the outcome of the project by observations, by taking field notes, by keeping systematic journals and having systematic interviews with the students and maybe with the teachers as well, to see how they think their students are progressing. And maybe at the end of the project, if we assign them a poster presentation or a kind of presentation or some task, a productive task at the end, then we can also assess that project with checklists, rubrics, or any other evaluative materials or evaluative techniques you might have. And the possible outcomes, I mean, there are two sides to this, and we want to just weigh them, you know, in such a way that they are equal to each other, but I think we have more drawbacks than positive ones. Let's say that we have those 5 skills and we implemented that in our curriculum, and we did a year-long project, and at the end of the year, these things might have happened. So the first one is, the desirable outcome, students succeed in their projects. There's positive feedback from the faculty. They appreciate what we do for the first time in their lives. Feedback from students, positive feedback from students. For a change, maybe hell froze and they gave us positive feedback, okay. And let's say that that project we designed is easily incorporated into the curriculum, and most importantly, we receive positive feedback from their future employers. These are, of course, desired positive outcomes. This is how we start when we start a project. However, as language teachers, I think we also have lots of questions in our minds when it comes to the negative results. Let's not say negative, let's not use the word negative. It is a big no-no nowadays. I don't know why. So drawbacks and limitations are, of course, teachers may require additional training and support throughout the semester. Because, as we mentioned before, these 21st century skills, I keep saying 21st century skills, right? 21st century skills, while we're trying to teach them to our students, actually, in effect, we may not also know them. So we might need extra guidance for that. The time might be a constraint. The teachers might resist to this idea of creating a project to carry out and to teach those skills. Sharing responsibilities and tasks in the groups of students might be one other thing, because one student might be very weak, the other one might be strong, and you know the rest. And there might be some technological barriers, not successfully clicking on this clicker or losing internet connection, or maybe some cable got lost in the way, so you never know. And it may not be easy to observe those changes in the students when they finish with their project. Yeah, we might see some language development, but when it comes to measuring those skills, it may not be very observable. So it is another limitation. Do you have any questions? Okay. For me. Did I speak too fast? No. Okay, thank you then. Thank you.
Who is next for Group B?
First, feedback from my team is that this is the best one so far. This is the first one. Best one so far. Thanks for the support. You're wearing that microphone. That was the first challenge.
Yes? Hello. My name is Çilingir from TED University, Ankara. And I was one of the group members in Group B. Our topic is the place of the speaking skill in the curriculum, so we went over it. If you're ready?
Yes.
Okay, of course we needed a puzzle, so our puzzle in our group was, because it was speaking, based on the feedback obtained from the B1 level teachers at Foci Xvii University. Still engagement is very low in speaking tasks and activities. It is not only at Foci University and most it's not only in B level teachers' problem, it's all our problem for our students. So our participants are B level preparatory school students. We told B level students because it is the time when they really start when they start the real conversations using structures or the vocabulary items they learn. I mean, briefly start with the real speaking. It is the level they start the real speaking. Yes, here comes our planning. We brainstorm, or we expect to brainstorm with the identification of the purpose. Our purpose is to encourage students to engage more in speaking activities and tasks in the classroom. And we talk about and decide about some possible solutions with curriculum designers and B-level teachers. We included B-level teachers also in the process because it was their feedback. And then we try to narrow down the possible, or we will try to narrow down the possible solutions. And of course, data collection tools. We decided to implement the same questionnaire as in the pre and post stages to be able to see to the learners to be able to see their perceptions of the change in their speaking situation skills, and also the papers to be implemented to learners and teachers. At the end of each activity I say here because I will be talking about the activities later in the next slide. I'm sure you know about minute paper. It's a kind of paper they write short comments or reflections about their teaching or learning. So at the end of each activity, so that they may not forget about what happened during their speaking or what happened during the speaking task or in the class, teachers and learners, we want teachers and learners to keep these minute papers. The whole process will take 4 weeks. Of course, we need to design a questionnaire and the speaking tasks, and gathering with teachers in a very friendly environment to talk about, to go over the procedure, what we should do, how we can implement the task and the questionnaire, and so forth. Yay! Yay! Me and my group decided about a savior for this situation. Now that we have a puzzle, we have a problem, so what we should do, what should the teachers do, or the curriculum designers do to save this situation? And we have the savior. And engagement boosting package we have. Yeah, and EVP, yeah. Okay, here's our package. What does it include? Let me talk about it. Here's the action step. As I've told you before, our process will be going on for 4 weeks. So, in the first week, there will be an authentic video discussion activity related to the theme of the week. So, there the students are given some authentic videos. I say some because there will be some preferences for the students. They're going to watch them at home and they will think about it, what they may talk about in the classroom, they will think about it at home. And then they will come to the class, having some ideas of mine, and they will talk about this video with each other and with the teacher, and they will mingle and they will come together and discuss. And at the end of this activity, there will be a minute paper to keep for both students and teachers. And in the second week, there will be an in-class interviewing and reporting back activity. There will be, of course, some interviewing questions. The students are going to interview with each other, and they will write reports and they will report it back to each other. Again, it's going to be a kind of, maybe it can be group work while reporting back, or they can report to the whole class. It's all up to the dynamic of the classroom. In week, of course, there will be the paper, again, kept by the student and the teacher. And in week 3, we decided to have a semi-control debate activity. Semi-control or control, it's all up to the teacher, the students, the classroom dynamic. So it will be up to the teacher's discretion or the student's preferences maybe. And again, after this, there will be a paper for both students and teachers. And in the last week, there will be a video shooting with an in-class discussion activity. This activity will be assigned in the very first week so that students can have time to get prepared for it. And they are going to be given some themes, maybe most probably about these weeks, related to these weeks, the topics maybe in these weeks. And they're going to shoot a video, and they're going to put it on an online platform such as Moodle, and they will watch it at home, and they will come to the school, classroom, back into the classroom, having some ideas about these videos, and they will mingle and they will share their ideas and give comments. Maybe they will give some background information about their video, how they did it, or they will comment on each other's. And again, there will be a paper kept by student and the teacher. Okay, this is our action step. And observations. We anticipate that based on the pre and post questionnaire, the data gained through pre and post questionnaire and minute papers, we anticipate some outcomes, possible outcomes. We think that there will be increase in participation, motivation, and engagement of the students in social activities. And thanks to this, there will be less teacher talk time and more student talk time. And we hope, and also thanks to the nature of the activities given to the students, submitted to the students, there will be increase in learner autonomy. And the reflections, we decided to, at the end, most probably we will need a systematic way of incorporating similar speaking tasks in the course, in this B-level course. And we may need to increase the variety in tasks. And we think that there will be successful outcomes, so maybe we may need a long-term piloting stage with minimal or no assessment. Because it's piloting, maybe we shouldn't assess students, or there might be minimal assessment for students. And of course, we may need more data collection about if we should go on with this whole program, continue with this, or should we, if it is okay, should we expand it to the other levels, A1 levels, for example, or the upper levels, for example. With this data collection, we may decide about it. And of course, if all the things are quite successful as we wish, we may think about integrating in this program the whole schedule, the whole program into the curriculum. Of course, we anticipate some limitations. Maybe teachers won't be that willing to do this because there will be requirements coming together, gathering together, and giving ideas about what to do before maybe or after the process. And we know we have a strict curriculum, there might be some pacing problems. There might be some technical issues, you all know what they are. We said that we can use Moodle, etc. There can be some technological problems. And of course, managerial interruptions there might be. They may say, okay, after all this effort, they may say, okay, you're right, that's perfect, I love the outcome, but this buzz part, they might not want to accept, include it build it in the curriculum, whole curriculum. Okay, these are the limitations. And here we are, the AR gang, the EVP gang. Yes, now question time. So crystal clear then? Okay. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello. Yes, so we have the last group presentation, and we are Group C, and I'm Miraç Özkaya from Ege University. Probably because this is my first time here, they made me do the presentation. Okay, so our topic is teachers' perceptions of the curriculum. So we mostly here will focus on the teachers. We prepared a schema, we can say. I mean, what we try to do is, we thought first, because when we say curriculum, so when we say curriculum, we have the assessment side, the syllabus side, I mean, we have different aspects. So first, we focused on curriculum in general. Then, after we went through the planning, action, observation, reflection stage, then we needed to go on with another cycle. So we have each steps, planning, observation, and reflection, and of course action in the middle, in two different cycles. So first, when we look at the problem, the puzzle we have, we said in Foci University, some teachers resist the implementation of some aspects of curriculum. And we took teachers as our participants, so we focused on their ideas first, and in order to have a look at it, we thought about making use of some questionnaires, and through the questionnaires we wanted to collect data in order to focus on the most important, actually the most problematic aspect of curriculum here. And after that, after the action and observation step, we said syllabus implementation is found to be, of course we assumed this for this plan, and we assumed that on the syllabus part there was the biggest problem, so we focused on syllabus. So then our second cycle began. And we rewrote the problem, and we said in Foci University some teachers resist the implementation of syllabus this time. So actually we can also say the first cycle was like the exploring cycle, we can say. And in the second one we came to the actual action research. In the action and observation step we thought about interviewing with teachers who focused especially on having problems about implementing the syllabus. And in that aspect, we assumed again that the possible reasons why they don't or they cannot implement syllabus in their classes might be the mismatch between the faculty's needs and what is planned for us to give in the classroom in prep school, the timing issues, and some activities might not work with some students or some levels. So we came up with 3 possible reasons that we can have. And in the last part, we said teachers should get involved within the aspects of curriculum design process. So this is one of the important solutions we might have, we said. And another one is further research should be conducted for the needs of the faculties in order to meet the gap between what we do in the prep school and what faculties and thus the students and faculty teachers expect from us. And we said a new syllabus should be designed with the help of the teachers, and it should be used for the following year, for 1 year. It can also be 1 semester, but we chose to say 1 year. And after the end of that following year, their reflections can be taken also through interviews and classroom observations, so that we can see if the new syllabus worked for them or not. And at the end we put everything in cycle again to show it back. Do you have any questions? That's all for our action research plan.
Okay. Hello everyone again. So we are watching out the end. You remember Sarah's speech earlier? He forgot the third detail. You remember? What? No, he wanted to say a third point. Yeah, he forgot it. That time his brain was so stuck with something else that even he forgot that one, it was. So he kindly asked me, if it is possible, of course, if you can do a favor, he's doing his PhD, as you know. And here's a tiny survey, that he's asking, whether you would like to join, if it is possible. So I'm just going to do this for those who are interested in it. So would it be okay for you? Okay, just 5 minutes probably of your time. Thank you very much.